Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us on Hill Conversations this Monday. And today's episode is very special, like I indicated earlier. We are listening to people from different provinces at the same time, so then we understand. We try to see what are the inequality issues in this province compared to the other province, and what is it that people think that should be done in addressing these inequalities. So for tonight's show, I'll be speaking to Frederick Museka. Frederick Museka will be representing and speaking about inequalities in Central Province. And then from Frederick, we'll be listening to Brighton Chanda Tsanga. Brighton Chanda Tsanga will be representing the Northern Province, and he'll be telling us about issues to do with inequalities in Northern Province. And then I'll move to Muma. Muma will be speaking to us about the copper belt, Kopala, of what he feels is an inequality. Then I will have my last speaker, Mr. Kapui Kaimba, will be speaking from Western Province, and he will also be sharing his perspective on inequalities in Western Province. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are into it. Frederick, you can start, and I'm asking Kapui to switch off your microphone now as we listen to Frederick to make his presentation within 8 minutes. Frederick, your time.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. No, thank you very much. To the organizers of the EU, conversation. I'm very glad to be part of this program and looking forward to the deliberations. Yeah. So, Central Province to me is very close to my heart. Having been born in Central Province, did my primary school in Central Province, which is the Chitamburao district. Moved into Kabwe, where I did my grade 8 to 12 at St. Paul's Secondary School, and then from there on went to the University of Zambia. I've been to all parts of Central Province. Currently I can give maybe a brief background about Central Province. Yeah, so Central Province, has about 12 districts. And we share borders with about 8 provinces of this country. Yeah, and if you come to the issues of how abundant or blessed are the province, we have minerals in Central Province. We have national parks in Central Province. We have water bodies in Central Province. Yeah, so basically that's about resources. Yeah, now the question is still runs in my mind. Having grown up in Central Province and used the route of Great North Road, for almost, I think for the past 10 years, I've always been tripping through Central Province, starting from St. Paul's. I used to travel from Selenge to get to Kabwe for 5 years from grade to 12. And then from there, I went to university. I still used to trip again from University of Zambia, Lusaka, going back to Selenge, almost for the next, again, for 4 years. Yeah, what puzzles me is about, the poverty levels in Central Province. And then you find that we have these resources. We have, minerals, for example, we talk of Luano. We even have some gold deposits. We talk of Selenge, Chitambo, Luano, we have, Magariz deposits. And if you are, from Central Province, if you tell them about what they boast most about, for example, is, the farming and the railway, right? You discover to say, we have a lot of people who have money, especially white farmers, for example, in Mukush farming block, you come into Chisamba, come here as far as Chibombo. But if you go, especially to the typical Zambians, the local Zambians, if you look at the poverty levels, it's so amazing. So I think the question now of inequality comes in. Yeah, then why is the paradox of, the poor people living in a rich province, if I was to say it that way? Yeah, so I'll go specifically, for example, national parks. For example, Central Province, I will talk of tourism. We have the second largest national park in the country, for those who didn't know, which is Kafue National Park. But if you go and, traverse around these areas of where people, around Kafue National Park live, and you look at the poverty levels, you'll be very amazed at, how people are living abject poverty even up to now, despite 52 years plus of being independent, despite being the owners of these resources like Kafue National Park. I'll talk of issues to do with, for example, minerals. Before I come now to the issues of how these sectors, get the issues of the syndicate into the inequality equation. So the first one I've given, for example, is the issue of the national parks. For example, of the Kafue, of the Kasanka National Park, of the Bururagun National Park, of the Pangor wetlands, which receives a lot of money through tourism because we have a lot of people who come through, to watch these animals in national park. But the question is, are the people, benefiting from, the revenue which is being collected through this tourism packages? The question is no. The answer is no. Yeah, so this is where the equation of inequality comes in on the tourism aspect. Yeah, the next one I'll talk of the minerals. Well, the manganese I heard I alluded to of the gods. Yeah, but people, they are still living in poverty. You find that a person who come within a week or a month, few months later, they'll still expensive, driving expensive cars. But people who have been there for so many years, you find that they're still living abject poverty. Yeah, this is also where the question is of the minerals. But are the benefit being gotten from the minerals in Central Province trickling down to Zambia? The common, Can I go ahead?
Yes, you can. I think you have about 2 minutes to finish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in short, basically, Central Province is a land of plenty. We have tourism potential, we have agricultural potential, we have mineral exploration potential. But the facts on the ground are that the common person in Central Province is not benefiting from the benefits which are supposed to get from these blessings we have at the province. So I think there is too much inequality on how resources are being, the profits people get from these endowments we have at the province are being utilized. So a common Zambian, especially Central Province, very few are reaping the benefit. So I think there is a need for people like us, even for these platforms, for us to speak about issues, to say the real benefits, the real owners of the land need to get the benefits. Yeah, I think that's what I can say for now.
Thank you very much, Frederick. So we'll go straight into Brighton, and then we'll be followed by Muma, and then Kapu, if Kapu you manage to come through, and then we'll start asking questions. So then you respond to specific questions from our viewers. So Brighton, it's you. Remember to unmute your microphone.
Okay. Good evening.
Brighton and Chinese phone time Africa son.
Okay, Pirat. Okay. Good evening, guys, and everyone out there. So I'm representing Northern Province. Like I said earlier when I shared this, I'm from Kasama. I was born here. I grew up here, and I did my primary, my secondary school here in Kasama. Then I went to Copperbelt University. Yeah, I want to share more about Kasama and Northern Province in particular. If you look at our province, we are blessed with so many things. We go to Mbala, we have Kalambo Falls, we have Chishimba Falls. In Kasama, we have a lot of falls in Mborokoso. Not only that, we have some monuments which are like those are tourism attractions. We have a lot of land. We don't experience so much drought. So I can say our province is favorable for agriculture. It's favorable for a lot of things. But coming to the question, the inequalities that I've seen in the province is that there's too much unemployment.
Bright at Pundisheni, I want to tell them, you for then shoot at volume. Bright, we can't hear you. Bright, we can't hear volume. How can we improve the volume? Can your Chinese phone Okay, try to speak up a bit. Try to
Okay. Yeah.
speak up a bit.
Can you get me now? Maybe
We
I
I
need to
can get you, but it's the volume is too low.
the volume is too low. Oh, that's
Yeah.
bad. So I was trying
Okay.
to talk about my province. Yeah, I was
Yes.
saying my province has a lot of things. When we look at the climate in Kasama, we don't experience so much drought. We have vast land, and our place is surrounded by a lot of things. We have Lake Tanganyika, we have a lot of rivers, so it's a place where everything can happen. It's a place of opportunities. We have Chimba Force, which even supplies some electricity, which is just exported to other countries and other provinces, whilst our people suffer with load shedding every day. So my main concern is this: there is too much an inequality in northern province because of lack of better plan and developmental agenda by the administration of the province and the country at large. Because a lot of people are not employed, so you find that mostly they are just people like the young people don't have things to do. They end up just abusing drugs every day. Teen pregnancies are very high. So it's something that really saddens me because with the little exposure that I've had an opportunity of staying Copper Belt. I've seen how some of the things that are there are not here, like recreational centers. We don't have such here in northern province. So these are some of the challenges that we face here in Kasama and northern province at large. Despite us having the big land and having good climate, which is favorable for agriculture, most cooperatives are not supported adequately by the government. They introduced the FISIPU, which was meant to supply farmer inputs and other things to the farmers, but it's a failure here in Northern Province because a little people, a small number of people benefited from that program, which is really really bad in our province. When it comes to recruitment of the teachers, we have shortage of teachers in the schools, whilst we have a lot of number of people that are done with their degree, their diplomas, but they are not employed. So a lot of people are just staying. It's just like a place where we have talents, we have a lot of opportunities, but nobody's there to open up the minds of those people. Yeah, I also want to talk about some of the ways in which you can actually try to reduce on unemployment. One of the ways is by introducing so many trade schools in our province. We know we only have Lukasha, but when you look at Lukasha, people when they are done with their trainings, they're electricians, they are bricklayers, and other things. Do you give them capital or opportunities where they can actually excel? Because we know when you have a lot of people that have done something with a few people that a lot of people working, and then there's no money, so people be working for less money. Somebody would do a house, as an electrician, and will only be given 100 kwacha because a lot of people are not employed. So we are looking at how can the government utilize the youth empowerment fund, the constituency development funds, in order to help the young people get the employment they're supposed to get in places like northern province. That's my main concern. Another thing is about tourism. Tourism can be easily promoted in our province. Areas like Chimba Force. When you go to Chimba, when you go to such places like Mwamba in Kasama, you find that there's a lot, big land portion where if people, the government had to give people, things like fertilizers, teach them skills in agriculture and other things, they can be good and producers of farmer products like that. But we don't have such things in our province. Those are some of the inequalities that we face here. And I also want to talk about some other things like
So you have
the
a minute to go, Brighton.
of a minute to go. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So when we talk about some other things like teacher recruitment and police recruitment and other things, you find that those things are there's too much corruption connected to such. So when they are recruiting people, a lot of people come from Lusaka, come from Copper Belt, and then they get all the jobs. They make people to run, run like nothing else, and then only to select other people from other places. So a lot of people do complain about such things. for you to be employed in Kasama, you have to be you have to be corrupted, you have to be connected to some people, and then that's the only way you can get employed, which is very, very bad. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So you can switch off your microphone. You can mute your microphone, and then we hear from Muma. So we'll get back to you, Beton, for questions. We're just getting to hear what your situation is looking like, and then we after Muma we'll go to Kapui, and then so Mr. Muma, you are good to go.
Yes, yes, yes. Good evening, everyone. Yeah. My name's Mumaj Sanga from Cover Belt. Yeah. I want to talk about some of the inequalities that I've seen here in Copper Belt. Yeah. I'll start with the first, the industries that has been set up in Copper Belt. We have seen so many mining activities going on, manufacturing industries, and other things. But there's been no support from these companies which have been set up in our area, Copper Belt. If you see, these companies have not given so much to the community. In such a way, we find that a lot of people are not employed in their companies. So because most of the people that are employed in the companies are the people that are connected to the system. In simple term, I'm saying about too much corruption. Too much corruption in Copper Belt. For you to get a job here in Copper Belt, you have to bribe someone. You have to be connected to a certain people. You have to know some people. Yeah. So that is one of the inequality that I've seen. Then the other thing that I've seen is there is so much inequality in terms of giving out to the Zambians, especially in terms of land. If you have seen a lot of people that have used the Kitwe and Dollar Road, you have seen that most of the people that have set up industry in those areas are the people who are foreigners. But we have failed to give our own Zambian, empower our own Zambian, our own people from Copper Belt, give them land to start industries like pavement making, block making. We have failed that. Then the other thing that I've seen inequality in the Copper Belt is in terms of political plays. Political plays are also one of the ways in which this area has been affected. If you see, most of the people that get empowered or that get presidential empowerment are the people connected to the party, to a certain party, or in fact to the current to the government of the day. So this has also caused a lot of sidelining of people who have potential to bring development to this area. Yeah. Then the other thing that I would like to talk about are ways of how we can take these things like, or how we can work on them and make sure that everyone is given an economical opportunity to be stable. One way is we need to make sure that everyone is given an equal opportunity by taking away corruption. We need to make sure that we give people what they're supposed to do, not by way of taking money from them while they are looking for jobs. Yeah. Then the other way is skills and training. These companies that have been coming up in the Copper Belt now, they need to be policies. The government should set up policies that should make sure these companies which are coming up, especially investors in terms of mining and manufacturing industry, set up good skills, good training skills, such that if at all they are to leave, people are left with skills that they can depend on and make sure they survive. Then the other problem that I've seen in Copper Belt is most of the most of the most of the most of the youths that are in Copper Belt are not supported by their leaders in local areas. You find that in a community, there is a leader who has good opportunities to connect the youths and to the good people so that they can start working and doing something on their own. But these leaders don't come to the ground. We always just see them on TV. They don't come to the ground to say these are the opportunities that are there. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do this, so that you are helped in such a way, and make sure you get an opportunity for yourself to have a stable life. Then another way that we can work on the economic inequality, I think, is we need affordable education, especially in Copper Belt. In Copper Belt, education fees are very high. I'm telling you, are very high because people have dropped out from schools not because they can't do school, but because they can't manage to pay. So the government, I think the government need to set up good policies, especially in rural areas, so that these people are helped and are pushed forward to have a good education. Yeah, I think those are some of the inequalities that I can give to the people.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama. So now I'm going to Kapui. Kapui is Mama, switch off your microphone. Kapui will be speaking to us from Western Province, and he'll be speaking to us, be sharing with us his inequality and experiences with inequality. He has just disappeared. I think he's having trouble with connections. So Kapui will come back to us and obviously will tell us about the realities in Western Province. So before he comes, obviously I can take some questions. If you are watching us, thank you very much. So this is called Hill Conversations. It's a follow-up program on the album that I did called Here I Live. And this program is meant to bring the conversations on inequality in Zambia, and obviously to mobilize answers and solutions to what we feel are problems and obviously things that are perpetuating inequalities in Zambia. And so tonight we are listening to the actual people, and Frederick Museka representing the Central Province, Brighton Chanda representing Northern Province, Momach Sanga representing the Copper Belt, and we have Kapui representing Western Province. So today it looks like a whole man panel, and next week we'll try to get the whole female panel, so then we can bring about a balance. At this point, I'll be able to I'm getting questions, and I want to start with Frederick. Well, Fred, we understand you're speaking from talking from Central Province, and we understand that Central Province is the hub of farming in Zambia. I would like to understand from your perspective. There are those commercial farmers that actually get funded even by international organization for poverty reduction initiatives. How has that translated into job creation for the local people? How has that translated into ending poverty in Central Province as a province?
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question, Pilato. And in my maiden speech, I actually indicated to say we're blessed, especially with investors in Central Province. If you talk of big farmers, if you talk of Mukush area, find a lot of white farmers, with brains. You are able to come, fly from Mukushi to Lusaka. They shop, they go back to Mukushi. We talk of Zambia. They have a lot of production in our province, in Central Province. But the question is, about the money, trickling down. You find that we appreciate these people have been employing, the local people, the villagers, to work at their farms. Yeah, but you find that where the inequality, part comes in, it's about, the issue of the wages and the salaries. You find that someone will be there working, on these farmers, a commercial farmers farm, but you find that what they get at the end of the day is peanuts, which makes it very difficult for them, even to invest that kind of money. So I think my solution to that, especially on how farming can trickle down, especially from commercial farmers to the common person in Central Province, especially those who are interested in farming. I think where we need to start from is the issues of the outgrowing schemes. Yeah, I think that is outgrower schemes. I think that is the solution to me. Yeah, I think there's need of these farmers start nesting these people who are interested in agriculture by providing for them resources, because finally someone can be interested in farming and you end up discovering to say they don't have capital for them to start, especially maybe buying fertilizers with the current economy and with the issues of COVID. So someone getting fertilizer is very expensive, but it's not everyone who can be on visit. Even this other government, intervention government is providing. It's not everyone who can do that. Yeah, so I think the need of this especially the farmers to start outgrow a scheme to the local people. And how does this work? I think that is the question. Yeah, so I think there is a need of this people coming up with criteria on how they can identify people to empower those people who are passionate. They give them, for example, soft financial capital to
Kapui, can you,
try.
can you, Kapui, can you mute your microphone? Kapui, can you mute your microphone? Okay, so I think thank you very much, Fred, for that elaborate answer. Do you wanna add your thoughts, Moma? Your microphone is on mute, Moma. If you had sungu.
Yeah, I can add on. I think I'll do so much on the financial capitals. I think as Zambian, especially maybe as Mr. Frederick said in Central Province, there is need of so much support to the local people so that they engage themselves by their own. They own their investment, like in terms of land and other things, be able to do agriculture on their own. The reason why there are so more inequalities, as you explained, Mr. Frederick, in Central Province is because people are being used but are given low wages. So the best way to support this, or the best way to help the people to have a good economical stance on their own, is by financing them. Try give the loans and support to the people so that they're able to do the agriculture on their own. In that way, we'll be able to move forward.
Okay, so this is a question to you. I'm from the Copper Belt, and I know a lot of Copper Belt, a lot of people in the Copper Belt who agree with me that I'm from the Copper Belt. So, what is it? How much of youth participation do you think is in the mining sector on the Copper Belt? How much do you think the young people in our on the Copper Belt are participating in the mining sector of the country on the Copper Belt as young people or as ordinary people?
I think there's no so much participation. There's no so much participation of youths in mining activities. And the reason behind this, I can say the first thing is we have seen so much politics being played in terms of mining, especially on the Copper Belt. People are connected to the mining industry are the people who are connected to the political parties of the day. So you find that those people that aspire or maybe have interest in doing mining are being sidelined by the political parties. The political parties are taking their youths as the people to do the mining, leaving others, which is not supposed to be the way. If you don't belong to them, you can't do the mining activities. So there is need to embrace that every youth should be able to participate in mining activities, despite of the political affiliation, despite where they're coming from. If you see in Kitwe, people who are doing mining in Kitwe, especially maybe for the young guys, are the people just within Kitwe. Me from Ondola, maybe I can't come to Kitwe and go there and say I want to start mining. Yeah. So I think there's not so much participation because too much politics is being played in terms of the mining activity participation by the youths.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, I'm going to just get people's comments. I haven't seen any question, but I'm going to just get comments so then people know that we are they are part of the program. So this one is coming from Cleo Nana Imakando. Wow, this is awesome and interesting. Keep it up, Pilato. I really would like to take part in this. Wow. Okay, so Cleo, do send me an inbox and then we can discuss. We want to host ladies next week. No, I mean this week on Friday. So then we can hear more of their stories and their realities and what they feel is the solution to the problems. This one is coming from Peter Katongo Kauseni. Like this page, reason with me for more updates. Oh, okay. Is advertising. Thank you. Link to join the conversation. So the conversation is we sent invitations earlier on, Mr. Piri. I want to see if there is a question. Kafula M. Kabwiwi says, thank you for giving youth a platform to express themselves. Thank you very much. So I think, Mr. Brighton, you had mentioned of Northern Province being a tourism hub. What could be possible in terms of tourism, and but how do you think the issue of nepotism in the recruitment? One, the nepotism in the area of recruitment can be challenged. And how do you think local people can participate in revamping or in starting the tourism industry in the northern province so that they can be beneficiaries? How do you think that can happen? How do you think an ordinary citizen like you should get involved to an extent where their life can change in the tourism sector in the northern province of Zambia?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So to start with, I'll start with nepotism. I feel for everyone to participate in whatever is happening concerning tourism, there should be transparency in what is happening. We have so many places which are paid for when we have visitors. We just had the expo that was last year, and we saw a lot of people coming here, a lot of people visiting Kasama. But now the question is, in terms of those tourism attractions that we have, who manages them? Who gets the money when people they visit? Where does the money go? Is it used to employ other people? Is it used to maintain the same places? What really happens? And in terms of promoting arts and tourism in our country, we have so many places which can be easily advertised and can be used as means of employment for people like artists, painters. We have the rich tradition that we have. We can sell it. We have Kalindula. That's our tradition. That's from Northern Province. We can make a lot of youth cooperatives, and then they make like cultural groups, which can be sold to a lot of places, and we can make money from that. It's as simple as that. And then some other places like Shimba, Kalambo Falls, some like Lake Chila, Lake Tanganyika. People do fishing from Lake Tanganyika. So by supporting those, by building up code blocks from there, by building so many facilities that can sponsor and help out in fishing, we can create a lot of employment. The government or you can invite investors and other people, teach people entrepreneurship skills concerning fish farming, concerning agriculture, and those areas. Then on tourism again, I'll give an example of the same Shimba Force. Shimba Force has got a lot of forces in it. It's got about three of them in the same place. So that place can be developed not the way it is. People just there to drink on Sundays. There's nothing happening there. Why can't the government develop? Because that land is under them. It's under the heritage part of, I mean, sector of the government. So that place can be developed to an extent whereby it will be having tourists on a daily basis, and that means making money for the place. Yeah.
Oliver Kashekele is asking all of you guys, but what can we do to balance up economic growth in our country? Because it's a well-known fact that provinces like Western Province and Southern are not doing well. So what can the government do to help up the balance? I'm having trouble Kapui is having trouble connecting with us, but I think he would have been in a very good position to obviously share his what he thinks should be the solution. So, but obviously, I want to hear you guys what you think about what Oliver is saying. Oliver is saying, what can we do to balance up economic growth in our country? Because it is a well-known fact that provinces like Western Province and Southern are not doing well. So, what can the government do to help the balance? I'll start with
Yeah.
Muma, yeah.
Okay, I think what can be done by the government is we need to find out the economic activities that can be activated in these areas, especially southern province and western province, and work on them, invest money in them, make sure they grow and support other industries there and there.
Okay, so I'm gonna get another one. So then, Fred, this one is yours. Is everyone youth in the mining sector that does not belong to a political party doing fine? If not, what's your say to the youth that are determined to make it without a political connection? So I want to, because Central Province has a story with manganese, diamonds, and other gemstones and beautiful stones. What would they call them? Precious stones in Central Province. Frederick, Mopualiwa Samuel Walusimo is asking, is everyone in the mining sector that does not belong to a political party doing fine? If not, what's your say to the youth that are determined to make it without a political connection? Fred, Manfule. Okay, so Muma, this is closer to you also because we've got a lot of mining on the copper belt. What's your reaction to this question?
I think it's not everyone who is doing fine, and to everyone that is trying to have a good economic or personal stance, pushing who have no connection to a political party for them to do mining. I think they should just work hard, and set up good businesses, an SME, small medium enterprises. If you see that you can do well in terms of I can give an example. If I find out like myself, I'm a good I'm a good welder. I'm a good welder. I just need to work on it, work hard on the same thing, make sure I get a good financing, and by the time I'll be doing the business on 2 years, I need to have at least a good capital so that I push my business forward. Because it's not everyone that will join mining. It's not everyone that is interested in mining. But there are other things that we can do as individuals. There are other businesses that we can set up. But again, the question that comes about is the environment so suitable for you to do the business that will push yourself forward? We find that small medium enterprises, especially in copper belt, are not so much supported. You find that people who are winning contracts in most of the companies are the people that are in fact in most cases foreign. There's more much foreign preference in copper belt than the local preference. I don't know the reason behind, but I think Zambians can do better, and I think Zambians are able to deliver to the expectation and unleash the potential that has never been seen in some of the industries.
Uh, Brighton is how many people do you know in the northern province that are leading in farming? I don't. It can be one. It can be two. How many people do you think that are Zambians that are involved in these economic activities that you can point out and say, okay, there is one. The environment is not favorable, but there is one, two, three that are doing so well in the tourism sector, in the commercial farming. How many of those do you have that you can share with us?
Okay, so I'll start with agriculture. Um, can I mention names or just say I know somebody?
So if you know somebody, you choose whether to mention them or not, depending on what that will mean for you. Yeah,
All right,
I
yeah.
think you
So
don't have to mention because there is a follow-up question coming.
oh yeah. I can say I know a lot. I know friends that are into welding. I know somebody who is a farmer. I know a friend of mine who actually is a grade 9 dropout, by the way, is doing well. He owns a shop, but he's been complaining because of what is happening. And I know another friend again who is a very, very good dancer. So he tried to recruit the friends and then they come up with this cultural group, but he's been struggling, in terms of getting business opportunities. Even writing a small contract to dance when the president is in, it will require cadres. So of course you don't have anywhere to raise money from, so you end up just dancing for events where you're given less money. Yeah.
Okay, so let me, because Kapui is here. Kapui, you are live and we understand the connection issues that you could be facing. Can you please go ahead and introduce yourself and then share with us your presentation, so then we can pick it up from there. We give you an opportunity to share your story from Western Province. Kapui, time is yours.
Right. Thank you very much for giving me this time to present some of the issues which Western Province is currently faced with. And
Yes.
I've actually switched off the camera because I was having some problems with it.
Okay.
So you find that in Western Province we have a lot of things which are in place here,
You have Kapui, you have
but
feedback. Can you
the problem is that these things are not utilized to the full. So you find that most of the youth currently in our province have entered into drug abuse and also other illicit activities, very much detrimental to them. And that's not a thing that we are supposed to appreciate. And I think the reason for that is I beg your pardon.
can you reduce the volume on the device that you're watching us from? You're watching us on Sungwich.
Am I live?
Yes, you are live. You are live. But then there is a feedback on your feed.
Hello, can you get me?
Oh yeah, so we can. So we can. You can go ahead. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah.
Kapui.
Hello.
Okay, so we still having trouble with Kapui. I think his connection is a little bad. Yeah, so I want to get to the question. To the questions. Cleo Nana has come back with a question. Says, I'm from Central Province, Mumbwa, and on the issue of agriculture, I would say there is inequality in terms of the funds. There are situations where farmers are asked to form cooperatives to say they will be funded, maybe fertilizers, and at the end of the day, they don't get fertilizers, and only the commercial farmers benefit because of corruption and would get a lot while others get nothing out of it. At the end of it, it's only the same people do better, which is why our country isn't developing. Thank you very much, Cleo Nana Imakando, for sharing that perspective. Maseka, is that Frederick Maseka, is that something that you are familiar with?
True. I think this is where the inequality part comes in. For example, on top of the issues of cooperatives, you find that these local farmers are told to form cooperatives, of which they will do, And then you find that there are issues, for example, in terms of payment for them to access those physical kind of equipment. So you find that the rich will connive behind the back doors, and you will find that they will just get even certain NRSs of some people who can't afford to pay, and they get the input on their behalf. Yeah, so it's something which is very common, especially in these rural areas. People form cooperatives. People will be told to say, no, you are going to get fertilizers, but there's the issues of membership, and someone can't afford. You find that this are able to afford, they're just able to get, for example, the NRS of a person, and they use, and then they end up receiving the inputs on the behalf of somebody, but who is not a recipient or the beneficiary. So it's very common, and it does happen.
Let me get to what Clifford is saying. So, Chitambo, Clifford is saying, change of mindset is key when it comes to stemming inequality. In as much as Central Province is endowed with natural resources, people don't see the need to work for themselves, but are very willing to work for other people, even when they are paid less. In Chief Chitambo's area, for example, there was a time when there was so much poverty that people were depending on relief food. To some extent, this promoted what they termed as dependent syndrome until the chief instructed that no more relief food. Clifford Chitambo is saying, change the mindset. But Frederick, change the mindset. What's your comments to what?
Just so that I can make a quick. I appreciate the comment by Clifford. I think it's very timely. In much as we can think of receiving incentives either from government or well wishers, I think it also has to draw on mind that we have to be the captain of our own ships. We have to make sure that we set the precedence of where we want to go. We need to make sure that we're in charge of our own lives. So I think it starts with us. For example, even if I'm given money, and for example, to venture into agriculture, and if I'm not passionate about agriculture, which means that would be a white elephant kind of a project. It will be there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then the money is used. But if I'm passionate about it, then definitely I will know how to save and make sure that I put in economic management principles. So it starts with us, the mindset. I think it's very key, and I appreciate that submission. I think the need of us to make sure that as we taking issues of projects to tackle inequality programs, I think we have to make sure that we also touch the issues of the paradigm shift in terms of the mindset.
Thanks. Michael Mwanza is saying we need more skilled and unskilled Zambians to participate in mining activities. Jobs are being taken over by unskilled expatriates, which can be done by locals. The expatriates overstay in the country, depriving economic development for locals. Zambianization policy needs to be enforced. Muma, do you agree to that? Okay, Muma's just disappeared just when I called him out. Brighton, do you wanna? Hello, guy. So I'm gonna keep this question. I'm gonna wait for Muma to come through, and then yeah. So Kapui is back. Kapui, are you okay now? Brighton.
Hello.
Brighton, somebody's shared the thoughts, and obviously it would have been better to have if I had gone to Muma. But somebody's saying we need more skilled and unskilled Zambians to participate in mining activities. Jobs are being taken over by unskilled expatriates, which can be done by locals. The expatriates overstay in the country, depriving economic developments for locals. Zambianization policy needs to be enforced. Is this something that you can comment on?
Oh yes, I can comment on this one. I think like he's put it, some jobs can be done by Zambians. We've been training people for some time. We have engineers, we have people that are trained. Even the constructions that are done by China GO and Avic can be done by Zambians. Drivers can those are things that can be done by Zambians. We've seen the construction of roads even here in Kasama, where a Chinaman is a foreman instructing people now to make a road. That person is not even a civil engineer or somebody who's done something to do with construction. But why are they doing that work? Like Zambians can't do that. So the
Mm.
police has to be changed so that a lot of Zambians can be employed because we don't have jobs already, and why should we be taking people from other countries to be doing what we can do? Does it mean we can't train people? Does it mean we don't have enough manpower to do what they do? Or what do we like? Is it the mindset? Or what do we like? I don't understand. 50 years, more than 50 years after independence, we still can't even construct, not even a simple shopping mall, we can't. Even a nice complex, we fail to do that. All those casinos mushrooming in Lusaka, big projects happening on the Copper Belt, most of them are done by foreigners, and they take away our money because we pay them in dollars. They take the money and go to their countries and enjoy, while us Zambians suffer. So a simple Zambian business is disadvantaged always because you can't compete with those guys. Those guys, they already have money, so they make big connections. No wonder the mindset has even changed. We feel things from abroad are better than ours. So you find this person is like, who's the constructor here building up this school? No, it's a Zambian. Why did you somebody give this to the Zambian? They must have given it to Chinese. They would have done it within weeks. So we have that mindset of say, okay, a Zambian can't do things well unless you get somebody from abroad, which is very very bad. No wonder we saw even on TV, the Chinese, if they even have barber shops here, which can't happen in China, not anywhere. You can't go there and own a barber shop, something that a Zambian can do. And now those are the things taking over almost everything. But what are we going to do about that as a country? This is very very bad. Restaurants, we have those people. Sometimes I feel even us, we have a role to play as citizens. Some of these things, let's take up the challenge. Let's take up the challenge and do something. Do something. We have this social media platform. Where we can learn a lot of skills. You can start up a barber shop, a salon. You can learn how to keep chickens. How to myself, I just taught myself how to keep chickens online. You can be go on, learn, ask people, consult. As long as we are interested in development, it can happen. Also, the government has to enforce the policies of saying most of the contracts are supposed to be given to Zambians. Zambians should be first priority. They advertise in a very transparent way. People apply and they're given contracts based on credibility, not connections, political connections. No, he was a PF cadre. He used to campaign, and then now he's been given this opportunity. That is going to destroy our country. Yeah, so I feel is got a very strong point which is supposed to be looked at.
Okay, Leonard Chanda
Yeah,
says so many.
just, just maybe
Okay,
an addition just to what my
yes,
brother
yes,
said on the issues of mining. Yeah,
yes.
when you talk of the policy, of the urbanization, you find that it also comes to actually the previous kind of point what the person mentioned about the issues of the mines. Yeah, and also the issue of well, just to be realistic in terms of how we approach some of these things. For example, talk of the mining. You talk of issues of equipment, for people to do the extraction of the minerals. It requires a lot of money, and people tell you, young people, you can form cooperatives, but what do you get the money? We have to be realistic, So it goes to the issues of the policy and also the heart of the leaders we have for us as young people, for example. For example, maybe getting just an excavator, how much will it cost? And you are talking to say home cooperatives, and you are telling young graduates who haven't even ever gotten a job since they graduated from university or colleges. What do you expect them to get the money for them to get an excavator if they form a cooperative? So it also has to go back to the leaders who have also the issue of the matters of policy. I think we have to be objective and be realistic in the way we propose and in the way we handle things. Also the mindset. You'll be very amazed to say to go to some of these areas. The local people even be told to say, load this truck, 10 tons of manganese, and they end up getting peanuts. And while that truck is going, a person will be an instant, a Zambian culture, millionaire, by maybe transporting less than 10 trucks. And the people will be there working for 10 years. They can't even afford even maybe to buy a solar panel to put on their roofs. So it also goes back to the mindset, also the leadership we have, also the policy issues we have in place. We have to be very objective and we have to be realistic about how we tackle this issue. Yeah, I submit.
Okay, so Leonard Chanda is saying so many youths are graduates and others are graduating from different institutions of learning. Unfortunately, employment is an issue of the day. What is your advice to the government in terms of creating employment for the young people? I'll start with you, Muma. What is your advice to the government in terms of creating employment for the young people?
I think what we can do, what the government can do, is set up policies. Okay, in most cases, we are having a lot of graduates coming out being afforded onto the market. But the question that is coming, like he has said, is where are these guys going? I think the government should set up policies to say to support these graduates who are coming into the industry, in terms of, let's not have that mentality of saying if you are an engineer you can just go into an engineering industry. But I think the university is there to equip you with the knowledge that you can do something, support yourself. So in so doing, if the government can set up policies, when we have graduates on the market, they are able to form up groups or form up companies and be able to be financed by the government through loans, if so. And if there are other organizations that can support them to start up something in future which can emerge into a big industry and support the economy of the country.
Oh, good. Daniel Tembo is saying, first of all, in order for us to build or develop provincial economy, we need the good message of love and peace. We stay away from violence and corrupt leaders. Uh, Brighton, do you want to add a thought to that?
Hello.
Do you want to add a thought to what Daniel Tembo is saying? Did you see the question?
Let me see it. Okay. Oh yeah, I can add something to this.
Yes.
I think I'll start with the violence. I don't know if this means the political violence and or maybe during elections or just on a normal day. Yeah, I feel they need there's supposed to be peace in our country, and
Hmm.
most of us young people are used by these politicians. I've had an opportunity of visiting some of these big politicians. I've been to HH's house, GBM's house. Their sons, their daughters are respected. They can be sent in the field to fight. Then they come to us, the sons and daughters of the vulnerable, the underprivileged, and then they give us Mateni quarters and tell us to start throwing stones. And we listen to them like we are fools. So sometimes, why would you fight for a politician? A politician, as long as he or she can't send the children to be in forefront fighting, you can't also fight. That should be the principle. No matter how much you are given, don't fight for a politician, because we listen to them. Them put HH and Edgar Lungu and let them fight. Let them fight those guys. Tell them to fight themselves because they can't, and then they're telling you to fight. Even if you're fighting for something good, you shouldn't be fighting, throwing stones on each other. That's very bad. I can say that's nonsense. But why should you be fighting? And then I'll try to touch on corruption. Corruption has really disturbed our country. It is always destroying us. It is always destroying us. No wonder I like what Professor Lumumba always says. Corruption should be a crime against humanity because people die in hospitals because there's somebody there who's stolen some money and he hasn't been held accountable. We have accidents, bad roads are built because money are stolen and nobody's talking about that. People are dying in road traffic accidents and nobody's talking about it. When there's a project that has come, the government is supposed to be
these big organizations, they fund us, they donors, they contribute money, but they will just come and tell you to say make cooperatives, and then you make cooperatives of 10 or whatsoever people. They tell you to say this is a big project, and then after doing all those things, you find that the money hasn't been given. They give some other people somewhere else. That's what happens. Constituency Development Fund is given to already established people because they are politically connected, because they used to help the ruling party to campaign. Now they are given money. So I always ask myself, why is our country like that? Why don't we have people that can talk? And corruption can end. Corruption is in the mindset. As long as we're exposing them, this thing will come to an end. But if you just stay quiet and say, okay, that's how it's supposed to be, this is Africa, corruption can't end, it won't end for real. But we young people are supposed to put an end to this by speaking out, exposing them when they do something wrong. Let people see to say, okay, this one has stolen money. In our government, where most institutions are under control, the government, so they don't really listen. But one day things will be good, and there'll be a change. Like this platform already, we are talking, we're impacting some change in other people. So let's keep on doing this. For us to grow, we need to end corruption, and we need to be consistent
So,
because
Brighton, your microphone is also singing. Brighton, your microphone
let
is
me get
singing.
what
Your
about this
microphone
one.
was making noise. Okay, I think that's better. So can you wind up so then we can close the program?
Okay, can you get me now?
Yes, I can.
Oh, yeah. So I was saying, if we are not careful, we're going to bring hope for ourselves. If we are not careful, who is going to come? Because these political players are sending us to throw stones, and we listen to them. If we are not careful, Zambia is going to be like Zimbabwe, where everything that was happening in Zimbabwe will be happening soon in Zambia. The dollar is the kwacha is just like it would call it or try to go. I don't know where it's going. Soon it is going to reach 35 kwacha because of corruption, because money is stolen. They don't care about whatsoever is happening in the country. So let's speak out. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to do
Yeah,
one
just an
question.
addition, maybe. Just an addition there, if I can be around.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just, Freddie, can I ask you a
Just an
question?
addition on the project.
I want to pick a question for you, and then you can say what you want to say, and then respond to your question. Then we can move on. So, Fred, this one is saying most of the emeralds in Copper Belt. Okay, this is also for Muma. Most of the emeralds on the Copper Belt are owned by emerald mines on the Copper Belt are owned by West Africans. Most of the gold mines have gone to the Chinese. It's like the laws don't favor a Zambian. That's inequality on its own. Uh, as you make your presentation, Frederick, I want you to have that in mind because I know in Central Province you've got a lot of emeralds, and I don't know who is mining these emeralds in Central Province.
Yeah, just on that one, actually, it was coming to the issues of the, actually, what I wanted to add on to what Brighton was saying about the issues of the political economy. Yeah,
Mm.
the issue of political economy, as much as a country, we need to promote our own kind of development as indigenous Zambians. But we should also be of the, we should be mindful in terms of the, especially the issues of capital. I think this is what makes, a lot of investors coming in because you find that most, very few Zambians, for example, have the capacity to do the mining, for example, in terms of the equipment. I think, it also goes back to the issues of the emerald on the copper belt. So it also goes back to, it goes to the issues of the police and the government, for example. How are they empowering their own citizens? Which incentives are they putting in place? Whereby, for example, the way we're talking here, we say, okay, what that mining, for example, in Luano, we have discovered to say they are gold depots. What should I, me, Blighton, and my colleagues do, for us to form up the mind? For example, if the issues of the interest rate on the banking loans as favoring us, it becomes easier for us, to acquire these resources for us to start such kind of things like mining. But where you find that the policies they are not enabling in terms of how we can do the capacity and the, get the resources done for us to venture in some of these sectors, it becomes very difficult. So there is need
Mm.
of government, to create an enabling environment, especially for each generally. to be able to venture in some of these projects. In terms of especially capital financing, I think that is very key because every Zambian will find that they have dreams. They want to become commercial farmers. They want to become, form, mining companies. You find that it's the resources which has been usually lacking, which has been always the talk of the day. So I think once there is the capital, especially capital financing, and the enabling environment, especially policies in place, which are able to favor, a common Zambian to walk into a bank, get this loan without a lot of restrictions. It becomes easy. You find that, in some of these banks, you find that person of another race, in Kara, they even get these loans very easily, of which you as Zambian will be subjected to a lot of restriction, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of issues to say no, go get this, but other people are not even subjected to that. So I think there's need of a policy on Zambian first, and there is need of capital. Yeah, I think that's what I can submit.
Thank you, Frederick. So, Muma, in closing, I want you to talk about what you think are the solutions to the problems that you had shared with us. I want you to tell us what you think the government should do, what you think the people on the copper belt should do, and your time is now.
Okay, first of all, about the government, I think the government is supposed should set up policies that support Zambians first. That support Zambian first, because in most cases we have found that most of the investment in our country Zambia are most preferred to foreigners than ourselves. This is because I don't know if the leadership doesn't believe in the abilities of the people to do these other economic activities. On the issue of people in the copper belt, I think there's need to work together. There's need to work together despite of the political affiliation, the tribe. And let me take this opportunity to talk about the tribe because I've seen so much being talked about the tribal lines. I've seen leaders preaching tribalism. So I think as Zambian and especially as youths, we should rise against tribalism by all means possible. I think if we let these leaders who are leading us to be talking about tribalism, who inherit a nation that is divided based on the tribal lines, it might seem very simple this time, but the seed that is being put into the ground will one day grow and give us bad fruits as usual who will be there as leaders at that time. So we need to work together and we need to be one Zambia and one nation. Then there's need of change of mindset for every individual. Let's put, especially for graduates who are coming into the market from universities, let's put in ourselves that you can do things on our own. We can't just rely on the employment from companies and investors, but you can do anything by yourself, provided you work hard and be disciplined.
Thank you. Brighton, what are your concluding remarks? What is it that you'd like the government to do in response or in reaction to the problems that you indicated sufficiently? And what is it that you'd like to speak to the people of Northern Province in addressing the levels of inequality? What is it that the people should do? And what is it that you would think the government should do in addressing the problems that you mentioned? But Brighton, yambo kufika kufika network kushani kukasa. Hello?
People before I go to the
Yeah.
thing here.
So we want to hear what you think. What you think are the solutions? What you think the government should do to address the problems that you've mentioned in Northern Province? What you feel the government should do, and what you feel the people of Northern Province themselves must do to address the problems that you have sufficiently shared with us this evening. Brighton? Okay, so Mr. Frederick. Mr. Wafred, Manfuri. Yes. In
Yes.
closing, I want you to, share with us specific interventions that you feel the government must introduce in addressing the problems that you have sufficiently shared with us. What is it that the government should do? And two, what is it that you, the people of Central Province, must yourselves do, even if the government doesn't do anything? What is it that you, the people themselves, must do in addressing those problems?
Yeah, sure. No, thank you very much for that. I think in my preamble of this kind of conversation, I think I talked of the issues of tourism, I talked of mining, and I talked of agriculture. Because if you look at Central Province, this is a province which has a lot of rural districts, and usually the economy of Central Province usually thrives on agriculture, to some extent issues of tourism, and the minerals now are coming up because they are now being discovered. Yeah. So I'll start with tourism. Yeah. I think there's need. Having traveled to all the districts in Central Province, I will tell you to say, well, a lot of tourism potential as a province. And the province receives a lot of money through tourism. For example, I'll talk of the Blue Lagoon National Park, I'll talk of the Kafue National Park, I'll talk of the Kataka National Park, I'll talk of Bengal wetlands. We receive a lot of this tourism resources, money which is generated through tourism, but it's not trickling down to the communities. So my first proposal with regard to tourism is the issues of the community resource boards. They have to be proactive. They have to make sure that this money, every time you go, you're entering a national park, there's a certain percentage of which you pay, which should be go to government. But this money, as this, even the local people are aware about this kind of incentives. Yeah, so the need of community, resource boards, which usually, those are boards which are created, around national parks, of which, they should look at the resources, which and the benefits each national park gets through tourism. But are they sharing these resources? Are they being productive? So the community resource board needs to wake up. They have to know to say, there is work to be done. So that is with regard to tourism. Also, we have rich culture, for example, in Central Province. We have the Rara people, we have the Visa people, we have the Lamba people. We need to start showcasing, our values, through ecotourism. So it's also one proposal. We should try to venture into ecotourism. Showing our culture, showing our food. We can do this, by establishing.
Can you rush it? Can you rush it, Mr. Frederick? We are behind time, so I want to get to Brighton. So can you? You're done. Bafule tamuliyomfika mwashitashani hapo. Bafule muna mute microphone, Mr. Fred. Your microphone is muted, Mr. Fred.
Okay. No. Yeah. So Central Province, it's a good province for investments. Everyone is welcome to come to Central Province to do the investment. It's a land of plenty. Yeah. So yeah, we are free. We are free to go.
Okay, good. Brighton, your concluding remarks. I want you to share what you think are solutions to the problems that you shared yourself, and what are the solutions to the problems. Like in this case, I want your solutions to be twofold. What is it that you are asking governments to do in addressing those problems? Then secondly, I want you to share what you think the people themselves in Northern Province must do to address the problems that you shared with us. Your microphone is off. Your microphone is off, Brighton. Okay, good.
Hello.
Yeah,
I
I
think
can
it's
hear
on
you.
now.
Yeah, yes, it is on.
Yes. I was saying I'm going to start with the people. Let's wake up. Creating employment is something that we can do. It's something that us, the young people, the people of Northern Province, which is blessed with a lot of things, can do when we take up the challenge. After all, it's for our own benefit. So let's find means and ways of developing our place, Northern Province. I'm challenging you. Most of us spend time on social media, just browsing, just chatting with people on things that can't even help us in any way. But we can't just spend a minute to learn about entrepreneurship skills. We can't just spend a minute to learn about entrepreneurship skills. We can't just spend some time to visit people, ask them how they have actually become successful farmers, successful businessmen and women. That's something that we can actually do. We can even the same government can see to say, okay, these people are trying their level best. We can speak out on issues of corruption. We can speak out on issues of unemployment, so that we influence the government and they start listening to us. Northern Province has been known to be a place of people who talk a lot. We've had discussions
Okay, so I think we've lost that
the lives
connection
of
with Brighton.
such
Yeah,
leaders like
Brighton, your
Alonso
network is not
Pomke,
so good.
the late vice president.
Okay, so
Be
uh,
that. Let's work extra hard. Want to end corruption, but respect the constitution. The government shouldn't be.
okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas with the world. Uh, Thank you very much for everybody that
It's
tuned in to
Kasama, so
watch.
it's very bad. I tell you.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you very much for sharing your ideas, guys, and thank you very much for tuning in and watching us wherever you're watching us from.
Can you get me?
And so today we started discussions and just hearing and sharing thoughts and experiences from different provinces of Zambia. So we did 3 provinces. Next week, I'll obviously have Western Province represented, and hopefully there's going to be network. And the way for you to be part of this program, you send me an email on pilatoninshi@gmail.com, or you can send me an inbox on my page Pilato, or you can send me an inbox on my Twitter at I am Pilato, and then I'll be able to reach out and then we can share ideas on how you can be part of this. So next week, my focus is mainly on female finalists from the provinces, apart from the provinces that have been represented today. So I want to hear somebody from Northwestern Province. I want to hear somebody from Western Province. I want to hear somebody from Lusaka. I want to hear somebody from Eastern Province, Southern, and Muchinga. So for next week, I would like ladies to be part of this program. And thank you very much for tuning in. And see you Friday. Thank you, Agai.